Hello everybody, welcome to the class today. I'm Nolan Clark, and in this class we're going to be painting some really cool sparklers. It's a nice festive painting, so I'm really looking forward to it. Follow along and then I'll show you step by step how we paint this. So I got the picture of Pixabay. It looked really lots of action and movement in it, so I thought this would be a perfect painting to paint today. So I am going to be painting in acrylic on a dark canvas. So you can either paint your canvas black using acrylic paints, or you can go and buy the canvas. I prefer to paint mine black though, and I'll explain why shortly. So let's just do a quick little bit of planning to see how would we tackle a artwork like this. So usually you start from the back and then you work your way forward, right? So we'll do that out of focus background. Then I think we'll come down and we'll do the sparklers, and then we'll move even further down and we'll do the hands. And then if necessary, there's one or two little sparkly bits that are over the hand, we'll add them in. So it's going to be quite interesting. We've got a nice little out of focus background that we need to take care of, that bokeh effect over there. I'm seeing random little dots inside that background over there. I don't know if that's just like maybe they've got some Christmas lights or something that have been suspended overhead. Maybe they are on the deck, because it's clearly two people, because there's two left hands holding the sparklers. So maybe they haven't got the lights on yet. So I think we'll probably end up leaving that out because it will just confuse you and it just makes it difficult to paint anyway. So I think we'll skip that. We'll just keep this to a nice little sunset over there. Yeah, and then this here, we'll do that, and then you add the sparkly bits over that, and then we'll do the hand and add the sparkly bits over that as well. So let's head over to the canvas. So if you are a patron, you can go and download the reference material for this class. There's a PDF. It's got the printed reference. There's a gridded reference. There's a lighter version so you can see more details in the hand. And then there's just a sketch template as well. And then if you're working along on the same size canvas as me, which is a 16 by 12 inch canvas, which is roughly 400 by 500 millimeters, then you can go and print out a tiled template. So there's the full size tiled template over there, and there's a full size sketch template as well. So I have gone ahead and just transferred my sketch outlines to the canvas, and what I used for that was dressmaker's carbon paper. The best color that I could think of using there was pink, so I used the pink color and transferred all those outlines over there. And as I say, I've painted my canvas black in advance. So why I prefer to paint it black as opposed to buying a black canvas is sometimes you'll maybe paint something and then you feel, you know what, I actually need to get some of that background back in again. I've gone too far or something like that. So now by painting your canvas black, now you've got the paint that you need to paint the background back in again, and it looks perfect. But if you use the gessoed canvases that are black, you don't have that same color. So then you often end up having to try and squeeze in all your background in afterwards to hide an ugly mark. So what I've used to paint this background is just some Paynes Grey. And I just gave it as thin a coat as what I can. And I can feel it's still slightly sticky, being acrylic. It hasn't cured yet. I did it a day ago. But that's fine. It shouldn't give us any hassles. Touch wood. Alrighty. So let's go ahead. I don't think there's too much color mixing to do. But let's go to the palette. And I think let's just pop down a few colors and see what do we need. We'll definitely need some white. Here is now a staple that you always need. So when I find when you're painting on a black canvas like that, you generally don't need too many colors. Too much paint, it becomes more of a glazing painting than anything else. So we'll just put down little bits of paint. The next one is French Ultramarine. Definitely Ultramarine there in the sky, and possibly some there in the hands as well. And then for that sunset, we're going to need some yellows. So again, just a pea size worth of yellow. So this is cadmium yellow that I've got here. Cadmium lemon, I think, would also work quite nice for this. And then some cadmium orange. Just a pea size as well. And then of course I think I will put down just a dollop of Paynes Grey. Because I know myself, I'm probably going to paint over something and I'm going to have to touch up the background. I'm famous for doing that, so what the heck. Alrighty, so for that background, it's quite lightish color, so let's start with white and add just a bit of ultramarine into that. And let's just see what it looks like. I'm sure if you have, say, a Taylor or a cerulean blue, that would also work. I just happen to pack out the ultramarine. Any sky blue, I'm sure it'll be fine. So I'm just checking the color against the reference photo, just to see that it's roughly the same tonal value, not so much the same color. Yeah, that seems sort of like that lighter color. So let's start off with that. We can always darken him up if necessary. Okay, let's get some more white. Let's bring just a little bit of yellow into that. So we start just with a little bit of yellow. You can always add more, but you can't take any out. Yeah, cool. That's way too yellow for the sky. So I'm going to bring in a bit of orange into that. And can you see it's just literally just a speck. In actual fact, I think I'm going to tap most of that off over there again. Yeah, it's not too bad. Let's make another pile, but maybe a darker version as well. What the heck with all of that. Then that should get us sort of that color for the hands. Yeah, it is more or less the color for the hands, so that's fine. So we've got sky, hands, and then black for the sparklers, because that's going to go over the sky again. Then we'll definitely need white and touches of yellow. Yeah, I think that's our color mixing sorted. Easy peasy. Let's go to there. Alrighty, so we can see it's more solid here. We said we're going to ignore those little dots over here. So we'll make this reasonably a solid color. And then coming down here, just to get that out of focus effect, all we do is just fade that out over there so that it's not a hard edge. So I'm just going to use just a standard bristle brush. So that's probably about 1 inch wide. And I'm going to just dab it into the blue. So initially I'm going to pick up a reasonable amount of the blue just to load up the brush so that there is paint inside the bristles that we could work with. So it's quite hot here today, and before I forget and before my paint starts drying on me, I'm just going to use just a spray bottle and just spray my palette. Not too much water, just a thin layer of water there just to stop it from drying out. And then look, I'm tapping this brush onto the palette again just to get rid of any excess paint that's there. I'd rather start off with too little paint. I can always add more, but to try and you can't really lift paint off because we've now already given this a layer of paint as it is. And then when I start, I'm not going to start here on the edge. I'm going to start there, and then so that if there's too much paint, that's fine. It's all right. It can be too solid here. Then I'll work my way down when I can see what my paint is doing. Now just use little circular motion. So you can see now I can work it over here as much as I want to get a nice solid look, and then let's work him into over there, and we'll start creating a bit of an edge. So as I see this paint starts getting less on the brush, then I can bring it up to this edge over here. Like that. I'm going to just turf the palette there for a second, just so that we can see this edge over here. Because on the photo, can you see there's, I think this is trees over here, and this here's a building. So here we've got a little bit of, you can see the top of the tree, a little bit over there. So there's a bit of a gap between the trees. So just a light little circular motion over there. And you've got quite a bit of the background still shining through the black. Yeah, so while we've got a little bit of paint on, I'm going to run it down this edge over here. The lightest lays eventually. Because now look there, there's basically nothing left on this brush. Can you see there? Okay, now we can load up again. So now that you've loaded up, get rid of the excess and start here. Here where you don't mind it being full. I'm not applying any pressure to the brush. It's just the tips of the brush, of the bristles. Just those absolute tips are touching the canvas. So you can now decide how solid you want that. Oh, yeah, I need to go orange. I mustn't get carried away. I was enjoying this so much I forgot I need to do different colors. Alright, let's run this all the way out the side there. Yeah, I think I'll fill it up reasonably full over here. Let's get quite a solid color. It does seem to be brighter here and a little bit darker going up to the top. So maybe we'll just bring in a bit of a darker color at the top. Alright, so this blue seems to come to around there. Let's stop in that vicinity there. And it's also darker towards that corner over there. That's fine. So there's a little bit of shading that we can do in the sky. Welcome to everybody that's just joined. Yeah, cool bananas. I think that's nice. I'm happy with that for now. Right, so now we want to start getting that little bit of a sunset look over there. So we don't have much paint on the brush, can you see there? But I'm just going to wipe off the excess because obviously yellow and orange are opposite, so they're going to turn a brown. So I'll just get any excess that I've got off over there, and I'm going to pick up some of the orange. The same as before, I'm going to load up the brush and then tap off the excess. Alright, let's put some of this color down here and just see what does it look like. Is it the right color or not? I think I'd probably do with a little bit more orange. So let's take this further up over the blue. So we run it along in that line over there, and we'll just fade it out upwards, straight over that blue, so that it becomes a bit of a shading over there. And take it further than what you think you need, so that it becomes a gradual shading and not a line. Is your arm also getting tired already? That's quite a workout. Yeah, now we can start making it a little bit more solid over here to get it more definite. Just be careful of the edges. Keep the edges nice and soft. And now we can gradually start picking up some of the darker orange. Let's bring that in over here. Again, be careful of that edge. Use a smaller brush if you need to. So I'm putting it in reasonably solid here. It's covering up most of the background. Most of that underpainting. Yeah, it's going to give us a nice little sunset there, eh? I think let's take this and make a darker version of it. So I'm going to take just some white, just for that last little bit. There's yellow and even more orange. This is what's nice about acrylic. You see, I accidentally made that blue there, but that's all dry already. It's such a thin layer. That's all dry already, so just go straight over it and it's gone. Forgot I had some blue there already. Cool. I think I'm just going to get rid of the excess paint on there for now, but I'm not going to wash him. And I'm going to go over to just a smaller brush, just to get those edges sorted over there. So I'm just going to go over to my soft filbert for now. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'll use this one. His tips aren't so sharp anymore. This one has kind of had it. So he's going to be better for here. Alright, so we'll start off with that dark orange. I'm loading up the brush, tapping off the excess again. This is now just going to allow me to get up to this edge a little bit more accurately. Just make sure you've got not too much paint on that brush of yours. These edges must remain a bit of a shading. Okay, let's go to the lighter one as we go up. Just to make sure it stays a shading. Don't get too much lines over here. Yeah, it's probably cool like that. There, I think I haven't quite got that shape right, so I'm going to pick up a little bit of the black. You do it the opposite way around. You just push that. You push the blue back. There you go. Got the logo there for a minute. We want to make this corner darker. Can you see it goes darker there? It's probably because of those lights or whatever that's there. Let's get to the bigger brush. So I'll just pick up some of the Paynes Grey. Same as what we did the clouds, or the sky, the circular motion. You just bring that darker over there at the same time. in exactly the same way. No difference whatsoever. There, like that. So there's that darker bit over there for that corner. Yeah, and again, just fade him out further than what you think you need him. And then he was darker over there, but it does seem to be bluer, so I'm going to just nick a little bit of blue. Like that. Just make an impromptu mix here on the palette. Just pop him back. So I've just taken some of this and that and just brought them together to mix a darker version over there. Because this area here is bluer than this area on the photo. And all this is dry already. It dries so quickly because you're painting such super thin little layers, you know. Let's go back to that color again. I just want to work it a little bit down here. Over that, when we mixed in the yellow and the blue, it did go slightly green, which is okay. You do get that color in the sky, but just by bringing the blue over it, it just pushes it back to yellow again. Awesome. So there's one background sorted, done and dusted. That was pretty quick and easy, eh? So I'm just going to wash these brushes quickly. We should be done with the big brush. Alright, let's go over to a rigger brush and then we'll sort the sparklers out. And for that I think we can, let's rearrange things a little bit here. That should be better. Alright, so I'm going to dip my brush inside the water and I'm going to use a rigger brush. Because now we need to do a long line. And I'm just going to roll it in the paint here. Just mix up a little bit of just thin inconsistency paint. We don't need a ton. Just enough to get the sparkler bits that are in the sky, but are now gone. So I'm just going to eyeball that out there. Probably that one ends up about that length and the other one was a bit longer. So I've got this line over here that I can see, so I'm just extending it. And that way I can judge the correct angle. If you're scared you're not going to get that correct angle, what you can do is take a ruler or even just a sheet of paper and just temporarily, just gently lie it down there next to that, and then you'll get, you can follow next to the ruler or next to the paper. I'm not going to panic too much. I mean, these sparklers do bend and stuff. Yeah, the one is taller than the other, so yeah, it seems to be in that vicinity there. Cool, now that we've got our line, now we can just make it thicker. So I'm going to lay the brush down so that the whole length is lying on the canvas. And I'll just pull it down like this. And I'll pull it down all the way until where I see over here, on the photograph that the sparkly bit ends and it's just the wire. And when I get to that point, I'm just going to lift up the brush so then it becomes naturally thinner towards that bottom bit over there. And I can see from the photo that this is not a nice even line. So as you've painted it, you've automatically sort of not had the same pressure on the brush and so on. So it's automatically giving you that little higgledy-piggledy line that you get. If you feel your paint is running out on the brush, then you can also just turn the brush in your hand as you go down. Then what will happen is as you're turning it, you've got this paint, and now it's this paint, and then this paint, and then this paint, and then this paint, and that way you've got more paint in inverted commas to work with, and not just the paint that's on the one side of the bristles. Yeah, that's cool. So that there will now need to just dry. So I think let's zap him with a hairdryer. And we don't have to wait for him. There we go. Okay, let's get a... I think we can get an even closer view of those sparklers. Can you see over here? There it's all black, because that's obviously all burnt out already, but here it hasn't. So you've got a little bit of light showing on that. So for that it is like an orangey brown color. So take the orange and just work a bit of the, yeah, you can work some ultramarine in there. You could have worked some Paynes Grey in there as well. Either one of those two would take that orange and make it nice and dark. Just like that. That's good enough. Yeah, I think I'll stick with the rigger brush. So I'll just dip the paint in the water. And let's see, where's our sparkly? Where's it sparkling over here? So just underneath that, we can start there. Run it down the side and in to follow that little tapering. Now I'm going to wipe off all the paint off the brush, and I'm using my t-shirt. I've got an old t-shirt here which I use just to wipe off excess paint like that. You can also use your kitchen roll. And now I'm going to use the inside of that line and just gently fade it away. So for that you may have to use just a fine liner, because the hairs of your rigger brush is quite soft. Yeah, so my paint is, it's quite hot here by me today, so my paint is instantly dried on me. So I'm just using touches of paint, tiny amounts of paint, just to fade that inner line, that left hand side of the line. Fade it in, because that'll make the sparkle itself look round, that shading that you get. Yeah, that should be fine like that. Okay, then let's see, on the top of that sparkly bit, it goes, what happens with a flame is the white is really hot, and then as it gets cooler it goes more yellow, and then orange, and finally red. So, well, while I've got this little fine liner, I might as well just use that, eh? So that's in the top around here somewhere. So I'm going to start off there with the orange. Put that down. Wipe the excess paint off. Go over to yellow. Blend those two into each other. Wipe the excess paint off. Pick up more yellow. Add yellow below that. So look what's happening. You're forming just a little bit of a shading right here on the canvas. It's not enough to mix any paint for. So just using little dabs and taps. And then eventually as you come down, we'll have to just wash the brush. And maybe even go over to a bit of a larger fine liner now. And you work that white into the yellow. So I'll just put some white down, wipe the excess off the brush, and just tap it into that yellow to form a little shading on the canvas, right there and then. You can already feel the heat there, right? You can see it sizzling. It's quite amazing. Awesome, let's stick with the white. No, I don't think so. We don't want to go too quickly with the white, because you can see it quite nicely. Let's go to the photograph for a second. And let's just analyze, what are we seeing here? Alright, so can you see here, you've got that white, that's where it's at its hottest, going cooler, until eventually there it's cold. And the same thing happens over here. Sort of the eye of that sparkle is hot, and it goes cooler, and then cooler on the outside. And each one is like that. And that's how we're going to get that sparkling effect, that it's hot and it's spluttering, is by getting those little different colors in there. Okay, so let's go back to here. So I'm going to start off with orange again. In other words, we'll start with a cold, and then we'll just go warmer and warmer and warmer. So we've just looked at those little sparkly bits out this vicinity. There was one there. There's one here. So I'm just adding it in as little circles and things. But they don't need to be perfect circles. You look carefully, you can see some of them are more oval and some of them are rounder and so on. Okay, these guys over here, they are going out into the distance and stuff. So they're more out of focus. So I've got orange on the brush, which is awesome. But I don't want too much of it on the brush now. There, they're solid. So I'm taking that and I'm wiping all that excess paint off the brush like this. And now I'm going to use same circles, but more adding it down in more of a glaze. You see there? It's not as solid. Its edges aren't as solid. Maybe we can get even closer. Let me just make sure he's focusing. Cool. Okay, so very little paint in your brush. If you do have to pick up new paint, pick up the paint, but then tap off any excess, like that. Let's see, I can even use some of this. Some of these colors here, there and there. Just to get a bit of variety, so that it's not the same colors. In other words, the one is one little sparkly bit is a bit warmer than the other one. And you can use some of the brown that we mixed as well. So you can see I'm not bothering trying to get these guys at exactly the same places as what they are on the photo. I'm using it just as an inspiration. And each one's a different size, eh? So that looks awfully bright, but it's actually the orangey guy. The camera's now just showing him as basically as white. Okay, so I'm just working in a bunch of these guys. And you do the same. Just make some of them more solid, some of them more see-through. Some of them are even just little lines like that. So like this one over here, making him reasonably see-through over there, and then I'm going to pick up just a little bit of color and just give him an edge, just a bit of a lighter edge over there. And you can fade that edge inwards. And then other ones, what you can do is you can make it darker. Let's make him just make sure he's a different size. Maybe that one's a bit bigger. Then you can take the lighter one and put him on the inside. In other words, this guy here, as he's popping out, is losing his temperature. And it's becoming lighter. Or it's becoming darker. Okay, up there, there's one that's still quite light. So I'm going to go over to some yellow. And let's put down a little mark over there. Oh, let's just go wider. See, there's that little guy. I'm painting mine a bit higher up than what he is on the photo. And then I'm going to take some white on the inside of that guy to show that he's still quite warm and he's zooming away. Okay, let's zoom out further. We've got there's another guy that's popping up further away. So I'll start with the orange. You can see I'm not bothering getting these edges nice and solid or anything like that. It's not necessary. Now I'm going to go to this initial yellowy orange that we used for the sunset. Let's give him a lighter outline maybe on the top. We fade that downwards and inwards. So what are we doing here now? We're painting little sparkles that are coming off the sparkler and they're flying away in different directions. So some are coming towards you and towards the camera and they're in focus. The other ones are heading away from the camera and they're going out of focus. Alrighty. Yeah, I think for now that's probably enough there. So now let's mix up, take some yellow, just into this orangey guy over there, maybe with a bit more white. All we're looking for is a light yellow. Can you see these guys here are orange? They're further away, they're cooler. Now we're getting closer and closer to the sparkler. So now we need to go warmer and warmer on the colors. And this here is where all the real action and stuff is happening. So we're going to start adding from here outwards. We make this come out in little directions. Can you see it starts over here and then they pop out like that. And then also you have little bits like, for example, over here, where a piece of this has now popped off, but he's still busy sparkling. So he's popped off and then he's exploding in an outward direction like this. All these little pieces are just popping off. Maybe I can go back in on that guy again. That should be good. So to get those thin little lines, I pick up the paint on the palette like this. I pick it up like this, and then I turn the paintbrush around 180 degrees, and I pick it up again, and look there, it gives me a nice little chisel point. And I can now use that to get these little sparkly explosions in there. So we're going to add some orange ones as well as the yellow ones. And now as you add these guys in, just think of how are they exploding out from this little, what would we call it, ignition point or whatever. And they're popping off in little pieces, going in all sorts of directions. I think you're already starting to get the effect, eh? Some of them pop off in little solid dots. Some of them popping off in these like stripes. There's a little piece that's come over there. He's been shot out to over there and then he's exploded. So he's just boom. And the central initial bit is not there anymore. That's gone. He's become little pieces shooting out all over there. The same thing over here. Can you see there? There's another one. And he's further away, so he's orange, so we'll have to come back to that guy. He's quite solid over there. And once you understand this concept, you can do your own thing. You don't have to stick to the photo anymore. That's why I didn't worry too much here in the beginning about getting these guys in exactly the right places or anything like that, because it's not necessary. Okay, I think that's... Here's a few more little bits running out in this vicinity, like that. That should be fine. Right, so I think I'll just paint the one spike. You know the technique. Let's go over to some oranges. Let's just get some little bits of cooler ones in this vicinity here as well. So I'm going to put it sort of like on the outside of these yellows that you've painted. The further we go away from that ignition point, the cooler things get. For example, here's this guy that's now exploding over here. But he's far away, so he's cooled off already. So we'll start him off with the oranges, like this. Then we'll go to the yellows. Nice little chisel point on that brush. Maybe there's a little thingy that's exploding over there, so let's make him big. And then we add little bits, just expanding and exploding out from inside him. So it is sort of like popping. Yeah, that's cool. Alright, so let's say this guy over here. Yeah, that's maybe that guy over there. He's still busy cooling off. So he's still got some heat there. So I'm going to add just a little touch of a yellow on the inside over there. These guys over here are still hot, and so is that there in the center. So now we've got to go to our warmest color, which is white. So I'll add a white dot on the inside of that guy over there. So you see the white with the orange little outline. Okay, we're sticking with the white. So now we're adding white inside the yellow. In other words, here the yellow is the outline, where like there, orange was the outline. And just look at that heat over there. Can you see it? It's just absolutely intense over there as a result. Okay, now also just adding some separate white guys over here, close to the sparkler. And maybe just here and there's a little touch of white. Something is hot over there, here and there as well. Okay, let's see, I'm going to pick up a bit of yellow. Let's get one or two just yellowy dots as well. Some of the guys that are moving away. Yeah, so that's a yellowy one with a bit of a white edge. And then there's some white dots as well. There seems to be two that are just overlapping each other over there. Let's see, one or two more little orangey ones at this vicinity as well. Would be good. Maybe they've still got some heat in them. Right, let's stand back. Plenty of fizzing and popping going on there, right? Let's add a few more little whiter guys around here. So what I'm going to do with them, they are quite far away, so I think I'll use the yellow, that light yellow version first. Just to give these guys just that cooler edge. Same as what we did over there. We gave those guys a cooler edge as well. And there seems to be one around here, overlapping the other guy. In other words, that one's, the big one is going backwards and the small one's coming forward. Cool. Go over to the white and add their little centers in. That ended in a little bit of a straight line over there, so I'm just going to add one or two small little bits. And also just jumping a little bit further away over here. Nothing too bright, because they are now busy cooling off and disappearing on us. So I think that's fine over there. So can you see it's a bit stripy and stuff over here to show you that action, the movement, where these guys become more round because they're gradually going away, cooling off and going out of focus. Alright, so now we need to do a hand. So maybe just put you on that camera for a second, then I can readjust the other one. There we go. And then let's put the palette and the picture down over there. Before we continue, I want to briefly tell you about my real-time paint and draw along art classes on my website. For a very small amount, you can get access to over 400 paint and draw along tutorials where you pack out your art supplies and you follow along as I show and explain to you in step-by-step detail how to complete each project. There are classes in acrylic, oil, watercolor, pencil, soft pastel, and even lesser known mediums like pen and ink and sketchboarding. There's a link in the description below. Take a look. You'll be amazed at the awesome classes available there. Alrighty, let's continue from where we left off. Alrighty, so look carefully at the hand. Can you see there's a bit of blue from the sky showing over here? But here, the hand has been illuminated by the sparkler itself. And it seems like here's a little sparkle that is about to hit the hand. And that's why it's so super bright over there. So I think he or she is about to, it looks like a boy's hand, got a big thumb there, about to shake that sparkler because it's going to be ouchy over there any second now. It looks like this is the man's hand, and this looks like the lady's hand if I look at the thumbnails. Alrighty, so we can start with just a bit of sky over there and just a glaze. So let's go back to just the soft filbert and some sky color. Nearly running out of sky color, so maybe we should just be proactive and mix some more, eh? We don't want to run out halfway through. That would be a mission. Yeah, so we'll take that. So you can see, to mix the new bunch, I'm not mixing it into that, I'm mixing it next to it. That way I can see when I've got the right color or not. And when I do, then I can bring those two piles together. Like that. And I can feel the paint is starting to get tacky on the palette. So that's my cue to give him a quick little spray over there. Okay, so I'm just picking up a little bit of paint, wiping off the excess, same as what we did for the sky. And now all I'll do is just start off at where I see it's the brightest, which is around this vicinity, right on that edge over there. Over there and going down around there. And going down. And now I'm just going to fade that away. As the paint gets less on the brush, and that just gives you just a little shading. It's very subtle, so most of this is going to be, your background just shining through. And it does seem to have a little bit of a bluey halo over here. So I'll run that along there a little bit further than what I see it is. Like that. Yeah, I'm seeing just a touch of blue still floating around this vicinity here as well. So I'm just going to add a little bit of it. Super light touch. Remember, don't worry if you go too dark or whatever, because you can just, or too light or whatever, you can always bring back your dark. Like for example there I've got a bit of a line, it doesn't belong there. So I'll just pick up some dark and just bring him back in. What we're going to do with the hand is build it up in layers. Acrylic likes to be built up in layers, and that's how we're going to do this. Alrighty, so that's done with the blue for now. Let's pick up some orange. So I'm going to pick up the brighter orange, the darker version that we used over here, at this bottom piece over here. Let's pop some of that down and let's just see what does that color look like and see if we need to darken him up some more. I think we'll need to darken him up some more. So I'll take some orange, a little bit of the that browny color into there. There we go, that's now giving us just a darker version. So I did not mix with that, so there's tons of paint on my brush, and I don't need that. I want to just do this with glazes. So get the excess off. Now what you're going to do here is each little limb, you're going to do each one separately, because each one, can you see there, has got his own little shape. So this one has got his own shading, this one's got his own shading, that one's got his own shading, and so on. So I'm going to see the light comes from the right, in this case it's from there. So here's the lightest, so I'm going to put that down like that, and he's lighter at the top. But then as he comes down into this bottom corner over there, he's getting darker. So I'm going to make sure there's less and less and less paint on the brush as I go down there, and just fade him in like that. And now the same is going to happen with each of these guys. Obviously each one is at a different angle, so the shading where the darks and the lights are on each of them is a little bit different. And this one, initially I'm going to just ignore that little sparkly piece that's on there. Just looking for that initial shading that's happening there. Okay, let's look over here. This guy comes to that, and can you see on these where they meet, I'm leaving them a little bit more sort of a solid line. I can bring them together to meet later on. I'm first just making sure I can get these basic shadings and the shape of everything correct. Then from there you go ahead and just do the final little tying up. And you'll see when we do it, it's super quick and easy to do that. Really quick. Okay, that can come closer to that little blue halo we've got on that the edge over there. That's cool. And now I'm busy making these guys a little bit more solid on the highlight side. And as I do, now I can gradually start bringing those little edges together. So that there where they meet is more subtle. Something like that. And so down here there's sort of a mixture. It's not quite a orange, it's not quite a blue, it seems to be a bit of a mixture of those two. Here the thumb is bright over there, it goes darker into there. So I'm starting here where it's brightest. Then as the paint gets less and less on the brush, then I make my way down over here. so that is sort of automatically shading on me, becoming darker. Alrighty, so here we're going to just have to keep our wits about us a little bit to get this shape right. So I did add lines in there where those main shadings go. Yeah, we're slowly starting to be able to visualize a hand over there. I think let's take this color we're working with now, and I'm going to work just a little bit of the blue into it. And that should give us that intermediate color. Yeah, it is. Cool. That little intermediate color that belongs around here. I'm just gradually fading him outwards down like this towards the bottom of the painting. Cool, there's some of that around here as well. So now we're going to gradually fill up more and more and more of this canvas over here, so that we're seeing less of the background shining through in these busy areas. Okay, we can run some of this up over here as well. And as we add more paint and we lighten up, we're going to gradually get more and more light showing up on the hand. Alrighty, so this nail, he's got his own unique little shading. Maybe we'll do him separately. And just over here, this finger over here. It's just picking up a little bit of light over there. So I'll start off light. Then we'll gradually go darker on him. Quick little shading. I think even we'll use a fine liner for that, because it's quite small there. And here I can see the shape isn't quite right, so this is where it comes in, where you've pre-painted your background. Now I can bring that background back in. And just fix that shape over there. Alrighty, let's just stand back for a minute so you can see where we're headed. Cool, let's continue adding more colors. Just more layers onto this hand, just to get it more solid. So now I'm using a little bit more of that browny color in these areas over here. Because we've now got that background little halo. We've got him, and I think we're happy with these colors now. So over here we just need to adjust these colors. Okay, I'm seeing a little bit of this brown in this nail over here, so I'm going to start maybe with the, we'll swap between two different brushes. We'll do this guy for the hand and this guy for the nail. So this is just a quick little shading over here. Like that and that. Let me go lighter. Just towards this area over there. And that's now just showing the light from this guy onto there. Going to add just a tiny, tiny, tiny touch of yellow into there. Quickly fade him out. Tiny touch of yellow over there. Fade him out. Okay, now I'm going to go to a bit more of an orangey color. Let's maybe take this guy and see what he looks like. No, let's get it a bit more orangey. This is that little bright little area that's being illuminated here on the hand by that little sparkly dot. So I'm just putting the orange down there. We've got the yellow coming on the inside. In other words, we're creating just a quick little shading happening over here. And now the light yellow in the center over there. There, like that. Alrighty, let's continue to just add a bit more shading to the hand. It's not quite there yet. So now I'm going for an even lighter color. So what I've done is I've taken the oranges that we've been using now and I'm starting to add just touches of yellow in it. I'm just carefully glazing it over those existing colors. Just here where it needs to be more highlighted. Very, very little paint on your brush. And you can use the photograph now as a reference for where these little highlight areas are. Where are the lighter bits? Because they're going to be all on the folds. So a little bit over here. A little bit on that finger over there. Okay, and let's add that actual little sparkly bit over there. So I'm going to put a dot down and then just make him actually sparkle. So I'm just dragging out a few little Just a few little radiant lines over there. Just to show that he is sparkling over there. Then we've got another one, and he's like those guys up top there. He's orange. He's semi-overlapping the hand. And then he's got that really bright little inside. Okay, so let's stand back. Let's go to there. And there. Just need a tiny touch more shading on this guy. He's just a little flat over there, not quite seeing the rounding. So I'm having to use my artist license just to shade him a little bit further than what he's on the photo. And then there, that's suddenly too dark. You see that? It's standing out too harsh. So I'm just gonna glaze a little bit more blue in there to soften that, because otherwise it looks like one hang of a big dent, but it's not. It's just a bump. Can you see that? It's just a little change in shading. So by reducing the contrast, you reduce the depth over there. Yeah, there we go. See, now we've flattened that out. That looks more natural now. And that's the kind of thing that you always need to do when you get to near the end of a painting. You just sort of stand back and check little things. Yeah, I'm going to leave that at that now. He's better. I'm happy with that. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it at that, because this is more of that, and this is more of that. So I've shown you all the techniques. So what I will do for the patrons, I'll continue painting this with the cameras rolling, and I'll show that to the patrons. So just there's my website address again. If you do want to go and become a patron, you go and take a look over there. And guys, of course, as usual, please don't forget to subscribe and like the video and comment. That way Google or YouTube knows that the classes are worth showing to other people. And in the comments below, obviously tell me what other paintings I can paint, because I want to paint stuff that you want to know how to paint. Yeah, awesome. Let's go to over there. So I hope you enjoyed today's class. Good luck with your sparklers, and like I say, with the hands, just keep adding those layers until it looks solid enough. If you don't add enough layers, it's not going to look solid. Take care. See you next time. Guys in the live class, thanks so much for joining me. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. We're heading down to Christmas. Put up the Christmas tree yesterday. Quite stoked for that. You can add on the Online Art Lessons website. There is the Have Your Say page. There you can go and add your requests. You can also add it in the comments as well. Obviously, if you're a patron and you add it to the Have Your Say page, then I know you're supporting me. So I'm going to always support you first over there. So always look on the Have Your Say page first. And then after that, I'm going to look at the comments in the videos and at other places on social media and so on. So speaking of social media, if you have done one of my classes, you can put it on the website in the discussion area, and I'll give you my feedback on that. And you can also tag me on Instagram. You can use the hashtag #PaintBasket, or you can use free art lessons, hashtag free art lessons, because that's my username on Instagram. Let me give you the link to my Instagram if you want. There's that. And I've also got a drawing channel. So 1 week we paint, 1 week we draw on the drawing channel. So we flip between the two channels. So let's give you the drawing classes. There's that YouTube channel as well. And then lastly, of course, I need to give you my website address, and you can just click the link there as well. For those that aren't a patron yet. So I know, Padmini, you are. Thank you. Appreciate the support. Yeah, there we go. That's it. It was a fun painting, hey? I really enjoyed it. Little sparkly bits. It wasn't difficult. It wasn't really difficult. It's easier than what you realize. Cool. I'm glad you guys enjoyed the class. Guys, have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you next week. Next week we are going to draw. What are we drawing? Let's go and have a quick spy. We are drawing a surfer, a dude on surfing a wave. It's going to be quite a nice drawing. Looking forward to that. And in the next painting class, we're going to be painting a snowman. We drew a snowman the other day, and now we'll paint a snowman. That'll be in 2 weeks' time. Take care, guys. Have a good weekend.